Hey, you know, to get the ball way out there off the tee, you've really got to learn how to make a whipping motion through the ball. So right after this, I want to go a little more into detail on how I can show you or help you feel the correct outwards whipping action of the club head starting from the top of the swing. Stay tuned. Hey, this is Steve from HitItLonger.com. If you enjoy this video and get some value out of it, I hope you'll hit subscribe, like, comment, and share with another golfer who would like to get more distanced off the tee as well. Okay, so to better show you this concept, I've employed my speed whoosh. It's basically, if you haven't heard of it, it's a very flexy shaft with a very light foam ball out at the end of it. And what I like about this is that the ball moves up and down very freely on the stick like this. So what a lot of you out there, you have a hard time hitting the ball a long way and possibly even slicing the ball. A lot of you out there will not be able to throw this ball to the outside and make it pop. It'll make a popping sound if you do it right. And what does that mean? It means that the outward seeking force that you are putting into your downswing far exceeds the inward seeking force. You get a net outward seeking force and the ball seeks to fly to the outside. So you can see the moves that tend to not work. For example, if I was to pull the club down, the ball stays on the inside. So if I try to pull this thing down into the ball, it's going to negate any type of force I might be trying to apply to it at the same time. They're going to cancel each other out and the ball is not going to, it's either going to stay in or maybe make its way to the outside of the ball very slowly. So instead, we're looking for an outwards throw of the club head. And you can see it's very evident with this guy. Watch as I just throw. I'm just going to uncock the wrists without trying to pull. And you get the popping. Just like that. So I would challenge you, a lot of golfers out there, they will not move the body or rotate the body enough. And instead, they're going to try to pull the arms back down in front of them again. Now, it does make the ball pop, but not quite as loudly, or the outwards force is just not as high. And one of the best releases and swings I like to watch for this is John Daly. And you can see in John Daly, his impact photo, it looks like his arm is just pinned back almost onto his right pec muscle. So almost to the center of his body. He looks like this. In other words, he's drawn his arm back across his body, maybe 2 hours. For him, it might have even been 3 hours. But for the average mortal, the arm will retract 2 hours across the chest. But I believe in a really good, powerful swing, it does not return on its own. Instead, it will get driven through by the pivot. Well, it just kind of goes semi-passive, almost relaxed, getting a free ride, almost bounces into the chest from the changing of direction at the top of the swing. Now, what would that look like if we just did the arms and wrists alone? If I drew this arm back across here, we'll reset the ball. Now, watch what happens. I'm just going to throw the club without pulling my arm at all. And that would look something like this. Now, tons of outwards force. You hear that pop quite pronounced. And I am just throwing the energy. It's the same kind of idea as throwing a fishing line way out into the lake. You got to have outwards force on that thing. Of course, same thing with a fishing pole. It bends, it straightens, it kicks, and that really helps project that thing way out to the outside as it kicks. So how then are we going to keep this from being a cast? We've got our outward seeking force, which, by the way, you release it like this, Obviously, it looks very, very early at this point, like, uh-oh, I'm going to hit up on it, backwards lean, no compression. But this is really a huge key to long drives for several reasons. Number one, yes, that outward seeking force is causing the club head to really accelerate. But second and third, this type of action will really help you square up the face and will help the club turn upwards through the impact zone. And so hitting it with a square face on the way up with a lot of speed is the best possible way you can hit your longest drives. Now, how are we going to square the circle? Remember, we've got to add a pivot that supplies us with 2 hours of arm rotation. So if my arm here, 6 o'clock, let's look at it from your perspective, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Now, if I just leave the arm at 8 o'clock and I'm just pumping the right elbow and wrist around it, I need some way to advance this left arm back to the ball again. Balance out the equation, and that's going to be the way you pivot and turn. So my arm is across my chest, and I see all these videos on YouTube. Oh, you have to pull the arms down as hard as you can. You can't leave it. Now, the best long hitters have the arm pinned, stays pinned, almost like a free ride, and they drive the left arm into the ball as they are doing the outward seeking force. So it would look something like this now. And all of a sudden, I add the pivot to the outwards throw, and we get the pop in the right place. You see, the pop starts to be at or slightly in front of the ball. Still just as loud or louder. So the outward seeking force is what we're after. Throw that club head out away from your sternum as you start down. Don't try to pull on it. Don't try to float load it. Keep the width starting down. Try not to let it collapse in. Try not to pull it, but instead, you can just practice this exercise. And of course, you'll hit it fat and to the left every time at first until you start blending in this action to get the pop more out in front. The motion is the same. How can you throw the club to the outside without advancing your left arm? Watch this. Make it pop. Great exercise for you to do with this. Unfortunately, Momentous Golf decided in their ultimate wisdom that they would only sell these to Amazon.com, so you got to pay a lot extra now, but great handy tool to have. There's probably other ones on the market that will do something similar. Great exercise to do. Don't try to pull it, but throw the force to the outside. Throw it out away from the sternum, and this is how you'll get ultimately the best acceleration from gravity, rather than trying to pull down through the circle, but throw it to a limitless outside circle. And I think you're going to have some really great side effects from this. All right, here we go. We're going to throw the club head to the outside as we pivot. Whew. And that ball was smoked dead straight. 300, 305 right down the pipe. Can't beat that for scoring. Give this exercise a try. Give this idea a try. The release, just the hands and the arms only, looks like this. It's the job of the body to advance that motion to where it correctly times out through the ball. We can make forward lean, compression, correct down strike, or up strike on the driver, whatever you need by whatever club you're hitting. Hey, let me know how it feels. Let me know what kind of results you get. Some of you can cure your slice with this. Some of you will hit it farther just because you'll hit up on it more. But a lot of you out there, got to stop pulling, float loading, dropping it. Throw it outwards is the big concentration. Hey, I'm Steve. Thanks for watching. Head over to my website, hititlonger.com, for hundreds more tips, drills, articles, videos that are all going to help you get better. In the meantime, if I don't see you in the next video, I hope I see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.